The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention The Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, it's time to give a shout-out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen at Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartradio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. And follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And support The Mike Wagner Show through PayPal at paypal.com/Mike Wagner Voiceover. And also on Anchor FM/support. And also check out the Mike Wagner merchandise store at Amazon.com/The Mike Wagner Show. And our sponsor, Mian Mohsen Zia. For some great gift ideas and more, go to Amazon.com/Mian Mohsen Zia. We're here with the author of a wonderful book talking about growing up in a middle-class neighborhood. This wonderful gentleman grew up in California, typical time, eating TV dinners, wearing hand-me-downs, and going out to dinner was a luxury. And, of course, meeting his beautiful wife at work, and of course, talks about race, where he's white and she's Hispanic, and Also, this book details as well, too, about dealing with an epidemic that has been going on in this country, and here to address and basically just talk about what's going on, which is Uncorrected, a good man's struggle against political correctness running amok. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful sunny California, ladies and gentlemen, the author of Uncorrected, a good man's struggle against political correctness running amok, the very, very talented Justin Ist. Justin, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well, too. So you grew up in California in a suburban middle-class neighborhood, and you received your bachelor's degree. You met your wonderful wife at work, and you have a diverse family. And, this also has led up to something that we're currently dealing today with prejudice and racism. And the book that you have, Uncorrected, A Good Man's Struggle Against Political Correctness Running Amok, intended to make growing allegations of population to dark ideology in 1920s pre-Nazi Germany, and a little bit of satire. And before we get into all that, tell us how you first got started, Justin.
Well, I started writing this a few years ago, and some of the first ideas. I watched a movie years ago, and it was about political correctness that was going a little bit out of control, and the whole movie was about that. It was called PCU.
PCU.
And, PCU. It had some big stars like Jeremy Piven and David Spade and Jon Favreau from the Iron Man movies and the Avenger movies. That film, talking about how political correctness was just out of control, was made in 1994.
Oh, wow.
If you can believe it. Yeah. So, this topic has actually been around for a long time. Now, you could imagine what those guys would say today, comparing the two from 1994 to today. Actually, when I started writing the book a few years ago, in the last 6 months, I would say I've doubled the thickness of the book. I mean, there's just been so much, just so much has happened just over the summer and so on with the protests and so on. It just gave a tremendous amount of material for the book.
Mm-hmm. And do you think with the protest, do you think that has really amplified the meaning of the book, political correctness running amok? Or has this been going on maybe since, going back to the 60s, which we got, learned that 1966 was more like a year of hate, or maybe even before that. Say 1901 was like the burning of what was it, Tulsa, with black population.
Right, and, it's very important. Of course, want people to understand that I'm not talking about political correctness as far as, everyone, of course, should be as decent to each other as possible and respectful, because that's the key, right? We should all be respectful of each other, and, no matter what someone's background is. But how far the pendulum has swung has really become an issue that is affecting everybody. In California, there was a law that got pretty close to being passed. You might know, I can't remember if it's Proposition 15 or 16, that basically said, and it literally said in the words itself, that based on the color of someone's skin, that you can now discriminate against people based on the color of their skin.
Really?
And 43% of approximately that amount of Californians voted yes. Now, the reasoning behind it, of course, was for past discriminatory practices and so on, and it might be for college admissions or might be different things like that. But it literally said that in the language, that it took away the prohibition of, basically taking away the ability of someone to, based on the color of their skin. So it's really become an issue, now that we're seeing things like the 1619 Project and other critical race theory concepts that are going into our schools and starting, with the children. So it's something that we should all think about. And the idea of the book is not this is, these people, this is good, this is bad, anything like that. It's we should be able to talk about these topics. We should be able to have an open, honest discussion about, whether it's race or gender equality and so on. And what seems to be happening today is, and particularly with the prevalence of the woke ideology, there is less opportunity for discussion. The political correctness shuts it down, and it says, nope, if you don't believe these certain things, if you don't follow this specific dogma, then you are a bad person, you are canceled, and so on. And that's the issue that gave me the impetus to write the book.
Mm-hmm. And of course, too, it also ties in as well, too, to what happened in pre-Nazi Germany as well, too, with the dark ideology. Do you think we're getting close to that, or is it we're coming out of it, or is it just as bad or milder stuff?
Well, there are parallels. So the book is about a young filmmaker named Steve who does a satirical comedy on society in pre-Nazi Germany, in 1920s Germany. Mm-hmm. But, of course, these days you can't talk about a serious subject and make light of it. We've seen comedians like Bill Burr and Bill Maher and others get into trouble, for I don't even understand the rationale behind it. It might be, showing the proper reverence and so on. Mm-hmm. And of course, again, we want to be as respectful to people as possible and, mindful of people's feelings. But there is a balance of how far that pendulum should go. And when it gets to the point where in America we are talking about limiting free speech, when we're talking about, canceling someone's livelihood, people losing their jobs for simply not towing a certain line, then there are parallels to 1920s Germany that obviously not quite as bad, but you see some parallels of this, overarching conformity to a certain dogma that is dark and divisive and potentially very destructive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And of course, you think about what we're going through as well, too. Do you think the situation in America is just as bad or not as bad or worse compared to all other countries who are experiencing the same thing?
Well, America has always been, I've traveled quite a bit throughout the world, and America has always been the melting pot. Mm-hmm. And that's because we have all these wonderful people from all over the world. They come here, all different, backgrounds and ethnicities, and everyone brings their talents, but they do melt into the society. And I think where we've started to lose a little bit of our focus as a nation is we started to say, well, no, instead of melting into the pot, we want to stand alone and be, we are this group, we are that group, we're this other subgroup, and so on. Mm-hmm. And that type of mentality you see in, sometimes you even see that in Europe, you see that a lot in different parts of the world where it's, the term of kind of tribalism, in a sense, of people. And America, I would say up until 10 years ago, people were people. We coalesced around a shared culture. And when I say culture, I mean one that, baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie, and good people from all backgrounds believing in the same type of, American spirit, the American entrepreneurism. And it seems like we're steering more and more away from that. And my question to people is it better? Are we going in the right direction? Are we getting closer as a society because of this woke ideology, or is it dividing us farther apart?
Mm-hmm. And what do you think? And what do you think is driving this thing? It used to be where people are willing to learn cultures, and people are now suddenly backing away. What could be like the main cause of it? Could it be fear? Could it be like somebody's trying to transform? Or what is like the one source that's really driving this? Like pulling people apart.
Well, I think there's a mix. There are a lot of good people who want to help others, and most it's a bit taking advantage of America's very good heart.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us are good, decent people who want to help others where we can. But it seems like there are people, some of the leaders of some of these groups, who are utilizing that to push certain political agendas. And you could see how it's not just let's talk about problem issues such as, let's say it's the Confederate flag or something like that. Let's maybe not have that. Let's take that down and let's put it in a museum and talk about it. And so people say this, this is a history behind it. And this is why, it was extremely offensive to a lot of people and so on. But now it seems like we are trying to tear down all forms of history of going where the Confederate flag was something extremely divisive and is extremely understandable, that people want to take that down. Okay, great. I think, probably, 80, 90% of us would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But going to the extremes of now, Martin Luther King's statue has been defaced. Schools in San Francisco are changing the name of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln schools.
Wow.
It's amazing. So it's, as part of that kind of tear down the history, and then we can build our, well, lack of another term, our utopia, from the ashes. And to me, let's all take a step back. Let's find a way to talk to each other again, instead of talking over each other and not listening or hearing. Let's start to have the conversations again. But again, when people are put in the position of, if you even talk about this, you can be in trouble financially or socially or whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
for having a discussion, that's a very dangerous trend.
Mm-hmm. And do you think social media is, causing people to come together or divide together?
I think it's been extremely divisive. I think it's been one of the worst inventions, and there's so much potential behind it. There's such a wonderful opportunity to get in touch with people and to share ideas, but it's nearly impossible to talk about sensitive or complex subjects over 120 character or whatever the number is.
I lost count after a while. It's like I can't even remember what's on a typewriter. So
right. So I mean, how can these kind of conversations are really that backdoor barbecue type of discussion, and one-on-one. Social media has just made these things spread, and tied to that, before there used to be a kind of a common sense barrier.
Mm-hmm.
So for people to have crazy ideas and for them to get out into the mainstream, media was very limited. Now, particularly with social media, a crazy theory can go and spread all across the country. We've seen that with the QAnon folks, and we've seen that with other groups where the most absurd concepts can be accepted, and there isn't that common sensometer, I call it, to filter out the garbage.
Common sense a meter. I like that. I think we can start inventing it and selling it on Amazon, and hopefully Jeff Bezos doesn't get a hold of it and make him the ultimate trillionaire he's been going after. So we have to be careful with that. Common sense a meter.
Right, exactly. I think he's got enough.
I think so, too. We'll talk more about the book, Uncorrected, A Good Man's Struggle Against Political Correctness, Run Amok, and more. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout-out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Mosensia. Available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with author Justin Ist of Uncorrected, A Good Man's Struggle Against Political Correctness, Run Amok on The Mike Wagner Show. Growing up in a suburban California middle-class neighborhood, and, just a couple of things before we talk more about the book. Growing up in a suburban middle-class upbringing, what was it like for you, say, compared if you tried to do the same thing today?
Yeah, I think the experience is a little bit different today. And, part of the idea of the woke ideology is that certain people, based on the color of their skin, are essentially their achievements are not their own. They're, privileged based on the color of their skin. Most of us growing up, in middle-class neighborhood, we were, ate out to dinner once a year. All the clothes we wore were hand-me-downs and so on. But one part of the other side of the coin that I got was I have a lot of family members who are black. So I grew up in an environment where, I got to see a very different perspective than perhaps what others might. Since then, in the last 15 years, I'm now married to a Hispanic woman, and so we have kids together. And part of writing this book, I wanted both my nieces and nephews who are black and my kids who are of mixed race. I wanted them to understand the different perspectives that are out there, and to have something to talk about when they will be faced with some of these issues as they get up into the workforce, as they get out into the world. And it's basically, and again, it comes down to people having respect for each other. Mm-hmm. And we may not agree politically. We may have differences on how we see the best path going forward, particularly in these type of social issues. But we've got to get to the point where we start talking to each other again. Mm-hmm. And again, that's part of the issue with the overt political correctness, is that there isn't the opportunity for discussion. Mm-hmm. The conversation just gets shut down from
mm-hmm.
the bat.
Mm-hmm. And of course, some of the things you used to do to encourage breaking down barriers, like you're right, backyard barbecues, or even going to church or whatever it is. And sports at once upon a time was like the main sharing common ground, where, say, a white person, a black person, or say a Chinese person, a Hispanic, like say they all like the LA Rams or something, or the same ones, like one person likes the Rams, one person likes the Packers, one person likes the 49ers, one person likes Tampa Bay. They may disagree, but they love football. It's almost like, what happened to that these days, especially in sports, or anything like very minute in terms of common ground, even pizza.
Right. Well, hopefully they don't like the Rams, right?
then again, SoFi Stadium holds what, like 80, 90,000 or something. Like, you can put anybody in there. It's like, doesn't have to be like one race. It can be like everybody. That's like one melting pot right there. Even the Rams are, have like just about everybody on board. That's a good example.
Right, and that you made a great point that sports were such a way to bring people of different backgrounds together. You go to a bar and watch a game, and you'd start talking with the people next to you, and it's a chance to meet people of different backgrounds and so on. But when they started to make sports political, more so than before, mm-hmm. That was a real dividing point. And I know a lot of people who have completely stopped watching the NFL and so on, because it used to be an escape from everyday life, from the political side of the world, and now it's become so political, it's makes it more difficult for some people to watch.
Mm-hmm. And especially with the Black Lives Matter movement, when it comes to basketball, and also football, baseball, and everything else. And it seems like it's getting more divisive than ever. And I guess the question is that how do we? What's the first step to take to stop the racism and coming together? What do you suggest is like the first step to take, even if it's like really tiny, like baby steps?
Yeah, I think we have to get away from the extremes. So we have to reject the ideas that are divisive, and things like the teaching of the 1619 Project, which is completely, any decent historian will tell you it's nonsense. you know, we need to stop with those type of extreme ideas that are dividing people. And there are ways to have, to look at other people, in the same shoes, the same light as you, and find commonality. Mm-hmm. When I talk with some people who I disagree with on these type of issues, I try to find the areas where we do have some agreement, and that's really a good way to kind of get that ball rolling. But I think it is going to take all of us, in a sense, to be talking to each other more, having these type of discussions. And I would also encourage people to, all politics is local. These type of concepts are seeping into our schools. They're seeping into our city, the city charters and so on. And of course, we should find ways together for the group, for different races and groups, to make sure that there is equality, to make sure that there is a fair playing field. But there is a right path and a path that is too divisive. And I would argue that what we are doing now with the woke type of ideology is making things a lot worse. It's making us a lot more divided, more angry, less trusting of each other. People walk on eggshells at work often. It's simply making the situation much, much worse.
Mm-hmm. And of course, about the book Uncorrected as well, too. A good man's struggle against political correctness amok as well, too. It involves, the hero being forced to navigate a minefield of both highway political correctness and dark underbelly of diverse national politics, and maybe just a bit about it's like, how do you manage this, and of course, how do you escape? A little bit more about the book you can talk about as well.
Yeah, so basically the young filmmaker is trying to make a controversial film in Hollywood, and the more he goes, there is the woke crowd telling him, oh no, you need to make these concessions. And of course, he's a good, decent person. Kind of think of a young Ryan Reynolds type of guy, nice, likable, regular guy. And, so he makes concessions, but he gets in the battle of virtue signaling one-upsmanship, where the people around him, the powers that be in his film, ask him to jump through bigger and bigger hoops to show how more enlightened they are than the other. So pretty soon he says, okay, he kind of gives up. He starts to go the other path and goes a little more extreme and says, okay, I'll tell you what. He starts to have, pretty soon you see Asian Nazis on the film set.
Oh my gosh.
Then later on down the line, he ends up with the Hitler character played by a Puerto Rican transgender person.
Oh my gosh.
So he goes over the top. He says, enough, but the joke is on him because it backfires. The woke crowd says, oh, it's so avant-garde, it's wonderful. It's almost like the Mel Brooks is the producers, where...
Oh, yes, Mel Brooks. That makes you think of it. The producers, they manage it. And the one movie I was thinking of was Blazing Saddles. And, of course, you try to do that today, it'd be banned from Hollywood, and Mel Brooks would be banned from Hollywood right there.
Right, and of course, that film makes fun of a racist society and essentially condemns it by talking about, by making fun of that situation. And you cannot, it's extremely difficult to find Blazing Saddles anymore. There are a lot of films, a lot of shows that you used to see come through on television once in a while. Good luck finding a lot of those.
Oh, my gosh.
Have been, seems like erased from history.
It's like, forget it, Netflix, forget it, YouTube, forget it, Hulu, that sort of deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And, of course, I was thinking about with, what was it, Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles. It's like, they had some people depicting Nazi characters, and I was talking to some people about that, and they said they actually made fun of the Nazis because the way they execute things was just completely backwards or half-assed, where it's like they had the intention, but it was the opposite effect. It was like, technically, in the end, they were not very smart people.
Right, exactly. So, there's a bit of that, and I know we've talked in, terms of very serious subject, but the book is meant to be a lighthearted jab at some of the craziness in our society now, and it's there is an element that gets into more of the serious issues. Of course, like I mentioned, the events of the last 6 months. As far as there's a group called Black Lives Together, or BLT for short. They, and I could imagine half of your listening audience when they hear a criticism of, Black Lives Matter, whatever it is, that, you could just imagine people's, bottoms puckering up and, giant collective hissing noise from that. But, it is okay to talk about this stuff and have a little bit of fun with it. Of course, the bottom line is we should be as, respectful to each other as possible, but, comedy is about poking fun at ourselves, and we should be able to laugh about these things. And, a lot of comedians, like Jerry Seinfeld and others, have said they won't do college campuses anymore because the people just don't know how to laugh at themselves.
Exactly it. And, of course, another example I could think of is Monty Python's Flying Circus. They literally laugh at themselves and laugh at everything. They poke fun at everything and even poke fun at themselves. I mean, it's just along those same lines. And another thing at Blazing Saddles, if you tried Monty Python today, that would have been banished off the face of the earth also.
Yeah, it's really shocking the amount of shows in our past that we would consider, coming from the sort of classical liberalism. Bill Maher is one who's come out very strongly against some of things like the 1619 Project and the overt wokeness concept. And he's somebody I would consider a classical liberal who said, okay, we may disagree on these ideas, but I will fight for your right to talk about it. And that, again, that's a key element, is that ability for us to talk about it. Of course, it's, people have to be a bit careful, particularly in the workplace, on these topics. People are losing their jobs. There are people who have some very serious consequences for even very benign comments in the workplace.
Right, exactly, yeah. And of course, we'll talk a little bit more about the book Uncorrected and what's coming up for Justin Ist as well, and of course a few more things. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Motion Zia of the book Missing, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. We'll be back with author Justin Ist of Uncorrected after this timeout.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device, subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We are back with author Justin Ist of Uncorrected, A Good Man's Struggle Against Political Correctness Run Amok here on The Mike Wagner Show, growing up in suburban middle-class California neighborhood and, of course, receiving a bachelor's degree and meeting his wonderful wife at work, having a diverse family. We talked about some of the issues as well, too, along the realm. And, also another thing that I was going to bring up, and it's about sharing common ground. And what are some examples of sharing common ground, another way to break up the racism?
Well, people may have different thoughts on, how society should, go forward as far as equality in the races and so on. A lot of people believe that there should be, reparations, restitution, and so on, and a lot of those type of topics start to get people in, coming from such a far stretch from the other person. But there are always ways to find an area where there is some agreement. You can, if you find a way to kind of soften it down, and maybe something like the schools where, you search for more opportunities for disadvantaged folks. There's a part in the book about a political candidate who basically says, let's focus on an area where we can all agree of helping the working poor. And if there are more people of a disadvantaged race or group, then essentially you are helping that group at a higher proportional rate. So, there are always ways to find areas where you can agree. And, once that agreement starts, then often there's a more openness to, consider real solutions going forward rather than someone's entrenched position, which may be outside the mainstream.
That's a very interesting point you talked about. I was going to mention something about, sharing a common ground, like your favorite pizza, what you like on your pizza and everything else. But I think that really takes it to a whole new level, which is great. How can we help these disadvantaged people? How can we help this disadvantaged group and that disadvantaged? I mean, Who would have thought of it?
Yeah, and like you said, even something as simple as something you can bond over. If the discussion is getting a little heated or divisive, you could always find a way to shift it into talk of how the Rams are doing, or your favorite pizza toppings and so on, and kind of bring it back to a level where people are taking a step forward instead of a step back.
Mm-hmm. And of course, speaking about the Rams and pizza and everything else, maybe just a little example as well too. And what do you typically like on your pizza, especially when you watch the Rams or whoever you root for?
Well, for me, I like a combination. So I guess that's my diverse background of I like a little bit of everything.
Oh, really? Like what? I like sausage, pepperoni, green pepper, and onion, and drizzle a little barbecue sauce. I like that.
Oh, you put barbecue sauce in. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, there's chicken pizza, there's Hawaiian pizza, and yes, you can put pineapple in your pizza. You got vegetarian pizza, and you got all meat lovers pizza. Some just prefer all cheese, 4 cheese, 7 cheese, 12 cheese, whatever. It's like all kinds of pizzas out there, and maybe just a few common toppings, and then you've got your common ground along with watching whoever's on TV, if it's the Rams or anybody else, or the Super Bowl, like say with Tampa Bay being Kansas City.
Right. Well, after last night's game, I think I'm going to need a few more slices of pizza.
You can have some of mine if that makes it feel better. So,
right.
I am so hungry for it right now. And of course, love to talk more as well, too. We're here with author Justin Ist of Uncorrected, A Good Man's Struggle Against Political Correctness Run Amok on the Mike Wagner Show. And just a few more things, Justin. It's been great talking to you, and love to have back on in 2021 and beyond. And what can you expect from you in 2021 heading into next year and afterwards?
Well, I'm going to be speaking a bit on the book and talking with people about these issues. One thing that's up next is I'm starting a book on our changing language and how that is affecting our culture.
Oh, really? And how is language affecting the culture? Do you think we've gotten smarter with language, with new words, or have we gotten gone a step lower, like with the classic terms, like say coming from Latin, Greek, or anything like that, like words we used back in the day, 50s, 60s, and 70s, which is not relevant today? I think it's interesting.
Right. Well, a lot of the words I've noticed even these days are a bit outmoded, but a lot of it is tied to how we have softened terminology. This may not be the best example, but I'll throw out illegal alien. Illegal alien has shifted from that to then it was illegal immigrant, and then it went to undocumented worker, and as we kind of soften, particularly with politically associated topics, the meaning gets a little bit softer and softer each time, and how it affects people, how people think of the term, changes as well. So I thought that would be an interesting topic to explore of how far our language has actually shifted in just the last 15 years or so.
And that's very interesting, and we'll talk more about that when the book comes out. And who do you consider biggest influence in career, Justin?
I'm sorry, my biggest influence in my career?
Your career, or yes, it can be your book writing, it can be workplace, it can be in general. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Well, when it comes to this book, someone who really influences me is Martin Luther King, because he was someone who did it the right way. he stood up against injustice, and he very peacefully found a path. He united people. There were folks from all different paths who joined his cause, and it wasn't a matter of changing other people from the outside or forcing certain beliefs onto others. It was more of bringing people from within and, changing hearts and minds. And that approach to me is something I've tried to keep in mind in my life, and something that I kept in mind in writing the book.
Mm-hmm. And that's very fascinating as well, Justin. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Well, the best advice I would say is, don't feel that you can't talk about these topics. We do need to talk about it. Of course, try to be respectful of others, but particularly for parents, if you are concerned about the direction of some of these critical race theory type of concepts getting into the schools, talk to your schools, talk to other parents, try to get involved. And of course, as we said, complaining on it on social media for 10 seconds might make you feel better, but it's not going to solve the problem. We're all going to have to roll up our sleeves a little bit and get involved.
Mm-hmm. And that's very important as well. Once again, author Justin Ist of Uncorrected, A Good Man's Struggle Against Political Correctness, run amok on the Mike Wagner Show. Justin, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, where can people purchase or check out your book?
Well, you could see my book at justinist.com. That's justinist.com. You could also find the book on Amazon and Kindle, and just look up Uncorrected. That's with a hyphen, un-corrected. Good Man's Struggle Against Political Correctness, run amok. And again, the website, justinist.com, and look forward to talking to you again. I appreciate you having me.
Sounds great. Once again, Justin, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely great. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on 2021 and beyond. And don't forget to keep in touch and share more common ground over watching the Rams and maybe a little pizza and something else.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Hey, everybody. My name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.